and also the journalist. I'm trying to think of his name. Cannot think of his name to save my life.
Ben Urich.
Ben Urich, yeah, the black guy.
Yeah,
like me. So he's also going to this different perspective, but I feel like it's kind of wasted a little bit because we kind of know what Kingpin is trying to do, but it's I guess like for no one really knows except for Daredevil, and obviously he's not going to be telling his friends what he's doing on his secret activities.
Yeah, and
so I think. That part, it's not really building for me yet. I know you've seen the rest of the series, so maybe it does escalate. But I do like his character. I just think he's kind of a trope of all journalists that we've seen before, over and over again.
He does become more and more of a main view. He does grow, and you see more of a relationship grow between him and Karen. Karen, you know, she's, like you said, she has a dark past, and there's so many mysteries to who she is. Later on in the show, she says something at the end of episode 11 that just kind of, you're like, wait, she hasn't done that in the show, so when has she done the act that she speaks of? It just kind of, you're just kind of like, who is Karen Page? Like, it makes you very, very curious. But at the same time, I feel like Karen and Ben are both, you know, they're both very different characters. They both have a past that needs to be explored. But I don't think that they have a really dark side. I think they're just trying to, you know, be who they want to be without any questions asked. I think that's kind of like where she's kind of a glue, too. Like, she keeps Foggy and Murdoch together the entire show. Like, it just happens, and her and Foggy end up going and getting hammered one night and screaming that we drank the eel.
We drank the eel. That was probably one of the best scenes.
Funniest.
One of the funniest scenes, just because this, you know, like I said, this show does get dark. It's unlike any other Marvel series that we've seen so far, because Marvel, especially the cinematic universe, is not really dark. I think the darkest one we've seen so far was Captain America: Winter Soldier, but that's nothing compared to this show. This show does go places that we would not expect Marvel to go in the cinematic universe. That's why Daredevil went to Netflix. And I think this also opens doors for other characters like the Punisher, like Luke Cage, Iron Fist, all these characters to get into this universe. That way they can really immerse these characters in their truest form, because they're not really true if you're giving them a lighter tone. Yeah. So it doesn't really work.
But at the same time, they're darker not just because, you know, of they're more anti-hero instead of regular hero at times, but if you notice that a lot of your darker storylines, except for select few like Captain America: Winter Soldier, happen at night, they want to give it that darker tone to make the night seem just that much more violent and brutal. They kind of freak you out, whereas like other shows like The Avengers, The Flash, stuff like that happen during the day, so they have a little bit more of a light, upbeat kind of event going for them, which I find is really, really cool. But what would be really cool would be seeing like a really dark daytime thing. Yeah, I think that would be cool. But
yeah, I mean, it's the color template that they use for the show is kind of dark, and I'm not really that big on the cinematography that they use. I think it could have been better. I think with the production value, that's about $55 million that they put in the production value on this show. I think it's about $55 million. I would expect better cinematography, but you know, that's just a minor complaint. It doesn't take away how great the show is. I think, but we gotta before we get into our negatives, some of the other things. Rosario Dawson, her character, the nurse, I think she's a very serviceable. So I think Rosario Dawson's a very talented actress, but she's really serviceable. She doesn't really grow, and considering that she's a love interest for Luke Cage, I think there's a reason why she hasn't really grown. But
yet another Easter egg.
Another Easter egg, because in the comic book she is a love interest, a current love interest, I believe, for Luke Cage, and so that's obviously something that we're probably going to see.
And another tie-in. I mean, that's just something else that they can use to tie Daredevil to Luke Cage.
Yeah,
which is just awesome.
Yeah, so we don't know when we'll see Luke Cage, but probably we're going to be introduced for more heroes in the second season. But let's talk about the action, because the action in the show is unlike anything I've seen in TV in a while, because we're big fans of Arrow and The Flash. And in the Arrow, you know, although, you know, Ollie, I mean, exception that he fought Ra's al Ghul, where he got his ass kicked. But, you know, he always seems like he can get out any situation, and it just seems like the tension is never that high for him personally.
Yeah.
The other characters around him, not so much. But he does seem a little superhuman and gets a little lucky.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, he doesn't get beaten down that much.
No.
Like, that's what kind of happened in Daredevils. Yeah, he was fighting, but he was getting exhausted.
Yeah,
like
very realistic.
The first episode when you meet Karen Page, he's fighting the dude, and they fall out a window, and it takes him like a minute to get up while he's fighting this guy.
No matter what peak physical condition that you are in, if you're fighting 5, 7, 8 guys, you are really tired. You're exhausted. You saw that in the second episode. Beautiful fight scene, very brutal. All one shot. It wasn't like this quick close-up shaky cam that we always see in action films. Is this so annoying? No, it was beautiful action, but you could see how exhausted he was. And
he's falling over that fallen door. He just keeps falling into that room.
Exactly.
It was hilarious.
That was hilarious when he threw that last punch. But it just tells you that this guy is strong. He's not Captain America. He's not Iron. He's not Hawkeye. He's not any of the guys. This is a guy that's just wanting to make a difference. But it does feel like, you know, getting closer to the season, or like the end of the show, like he's way in over his head. Like he, I don't think he understands. And we forgot to mention this one character, Stick. You know, Stick is freaking awesome. Stick is such a douchebag. I would never want to be this guy's friend, but boy, would I love to be trained by him, because this guy is such a badass. And one of the cool.
But that's kind of funny too. Whenever you're watching it. Like, and it's really hit me, like the episode 1 or 2 before Stick is actually introduced. You're like, this makes no sense. Why is Matt Murdock able to be very ninja-like when his father was just a boxer? And it was really, like, I was sitting there, I was like, wait, who trained this guy? Because there's no way that he just trained himself. First off, he's blind, so there's no way he would have been able to watch and know what the attack was. Plus, his senses are so high. So when they introduced Stick, and I was like, and they're like, and he comes up and he's just like, get up. And I'm like, Stick's a ninja. That explains everything.
It just explains everything. And I think this is one of the, this is probably going to introduce Iron Fist, because there was that one scene where he goes to his master. I forgot the character's name. But that just opened up a whole door that's going to be, because they didn't really touch upon his mission with the Blackwater. We're probably going to get that in a later time. But the only reason, because we have absolutely zero idea what
Blackwater is.
Yeah, what Blackwater is, yeah.
Besides a little kid.
Besides a little kid that he apparently killed.
And that they're very, very, very rare.
Exactly. So it's probably something, we're definitely getting into season 2 for sure, but that's a whole nother year away. But we don't really know Fisk's motivation. We don't know if he's good, he's bad. I mean, if you're not a comic book fan, you probably don't really know his character too much, so you probably don't trust him.
Even with the comic book, I did research on him after they introduced Stick. After they introduced him, I did research, and there's not a lot, not even on Wikipedia, which goes to tell you that this character is very vague, which means they had plenty of wiggle room to. I mean, all you really knew about him was that he trained Matt Murdock when he was a kid, and that's pretty much all Wikipedia told me. So, and that he dies at the hands of the villain group known as the Hand, which was hinted on, but not completely told. Like, you'll see the Hand, but I don't know how many of you will actually catch on that they are the Hand. You will when they introduce them, more than likely in the second season. But Stick was supposedly killed by the Hand, and Matt Murdock seeks vengeance on them. But that is all you know, is that he trained Matt and then he died.
Yeah.
That's all you know. He's very vague. He's very mysterious, which they did a perfect job of explaining. They didn't explain who he's working for, why he killed Black Hand, anything. They just put him in there and then he's gone. He comes, fights Matt, leaves. That's it.
Yeah, so we don't know his motivation and why he comes back, but we just know that he's back. And he's probably not really leaving anytime soon, but he's probably going to be a recurring character, probably a main character.
Hopefully.
In second season. Hopefully, because I think he's really awesome. He's really cool. But man, he's such a douchebag at the same time. I would not want to be friends with this guy.